This on. All right, perfect. Well, I want to appreciate everyone for being here today. I appreciate your flexibility as well. I know uh, this morning kind of threw a wrench in some things with some transportation, but I'm glad we're able to be remote and to work safely and warm and drink some nice hot coffee or some whatever you want to drink in the morning. And welcome to Canva 2.0. So we did a Canva 2.0 training last year. So some of the information is going to be similar. So if you came to my session last year, it will be very similar to this year. The only thing that's going to be a little bit different is Canva did have some announcements in October of this year where they announced a couple of new features. I will be going over a couple of those. And they are in this presentation as well. If you've ever been part of my presentation before, I don't tend to stick in the presentation as much. I tend to go more outside, like into the actual program itself. So hopefully this presentation will at least get you some resources, and we'll follow it to the best of my ability. So again, if you want to access this presentation, it's teach.link/Canva 20-25. You could also scan that QR code. Um, I will be sending an email most likely later on this afternoon to tomorrow with the recording of this presentation as well as the link to the presentation as well. And without further ado, we'll go ahead and get started. So, um, again, some of the things we're going to be going over, in the Canva 1.0 training, we do a lot of, very basics of Canva. What is Canva? So we're not going to be doing a lot of that kind of stuff. We're mostly going to be doing some of the more advanced features. So this includes some of the AI features, editing of PDFs, looking at the mockups, the whiteboard, and of course, like I mentioned earlier, the new Canva features which came out in October of 2025. Some of that includes like Canva now has a new forms feature. You can actually control your presentation from like remote control from your phone. So there's a lot of kind of cool features that kind of came out of that I'm really happy to share with you. All right, so here are some of my favorite AI features. These have been around for I'd say about a year and a half, maybe 2 years now. But they just are so powerful. The background remover, they include the magic eraser, the magic grab, the magic edit, and then the grab text. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and just like always, if you have any questions about anything, feel free to pop them into the chat, and I will do my best to get to the questions throughout the presentation. All right, so I'm going to go into Canva and canva.com. Again, you want to make sure that you're logged in with your Wayne Research credentials because that gets you the Canva Pro edition. Canva Pro is free for education, and it's just a really nice feature to have. If you're signing with a personal account, you're not going to have access to a lot of these different functionalities. So again, you want to make sure you're signed in with your Wayne Research credentials. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and create. We'll just do a flyer for right now. All right, so to access the AI features, you actually have to have an image in here. So we're going to go into elements and I'm just going to grab a photo. Um, let's do let's do dog. All right, so I'm going to click on see all for photos and I'm going to grab this photo right here. So we have this nice cute dog holding a frisbee in his mouth. Okay. So to access the features, if you click on the photo itself, you'll notice that up on the top here, it now has some information. So you can flip it, you got the BZ remover, everything like that. So that's the first feature I'm going to show you. So background remover is obviously one of the more popular AI features. So by simply clicking on a photo, clicking on BG remover, what it's going to do is going to remove the background of a photo. Um, of course, this is all machine learning. It does its very best, depending on the focal point of the actual image and what is in the background. But this is really good if you want to like if you're in a classroom and you just want to like focus on the teacher itself and not so much on like the content behind it. It's also really good like if you get like a photo bomb and you don't really want that photo bomb in there, everything like that. I'm gonna go ahead and you can always go back. So undo or Command Z, Control Z, whatever computer you're on, and that will take it back to this. But with that, I can also click on edit, and that's going to bring up some of the more AI features. So of course they're in the what's called the Magic Studio. And if you go through the Magic Studio, you'll see a couple of other things on here, like changing the colors on it, putting different hues on it, some shadows, all that kind of stuff. We will go over just one or two of those features, but with that, I want to show you the background generator. This is one of the newer ones that's actually a part of the new Canva that came out in October. So you can actually add a background behind it. So I want to say, let's do background is on the moon. Click on generate. So what it's going to do, it's going to, obviously read it, use the machine learning, kind of think about what a moon is, how it's going to look like in the picture. It's going to give you four different suggestions. You click on, this photo right here. Of course, now, I'm not sure why we must be on, what is it, Endor that had like the couple moons, or that was a couple suns, I think, actually. So, I'm not sure what a tree is doing on the moon, or you got this one, you got another random dog on here, and you got some colliding, moons on here. But, of course, you can, obviously the more specific you are with your prompt, if you want to say, the background is the Earth, but the dog is on the moon, things like that. So again, you can have some fun with some stuff, but that's kind of a cool little feature. All right, we'll just stick with this photo for right now to show some of these other features. So one feature that I really love is the magic eraser. This is really good because what it does is you can really kind of pick um what part of the photo you want to keep and what part of the photo you don't want to keep. So for example, there's we have this little moon right here. I don't really like the way this looks. So I have a couple different options. I can use a brush and I can simply just kind of click on it. And of course, it could look a little purple. I then click on erase. And what it's going to do is going to find the surrounding areas and then be able to remove that object. There's also a click option, so I can click on click, click on click, all right? And it's going to notice all different objects. So for example, if I want to just click on this guy right here, now you can see that I don't have to actually brush it. I can just simply click on it, then click on erase, and it goes away. And you can kind of see here, it does a pretty good job. There's usually sometimes a little bit of a remnant right here that could be from the photo itself. You can always go in and, do the brush and kind of clean up this area a little bit. And then the usually does a better job of really kind of getting rid of all whatever remnants were in there. Um, so that is the magic eraser. The next one is the magic grab, which I really like. So clicking on the magic grab. So let's say I wanted to move this object to somewhere else. I didn't want to erase it, but I want to move it. So I can go ahead and click on it and then click on grab. And now I can simply just move that object to somewhere else. So if I wanted to put it over here, now it's over here on this side as opposed to being on this side. So this is really nice. So where I've seen this used is I've seen it used where maybe if you're taking a picture of a classroom and you want to move a poster to something else, or if the flag is in the way, or if you want to move some text over to somewhere else, really anything in a Canva photo is going to be considered an object. So it's going to recognize all those different kind of nuances and then find what you want to really look for and then be able to move that. So that's the grab object. So that one's really nice. The next one I want to show you, I can't really do with this photo because it doesn't have any text on it. So I'm going to grab another photo. So let's do elements. Let's do a billboard. And we'll just choose this one right here because I want to be able to have text. All right, so get rid of this right here. All right, so clicking on edit and going over there, you have this grab text. So what this grab text does is it recognizes text in your photo. So you can see here that I have the text. So I'm going to go ahead and click on it, and then I'm going to click grab. And what it's going to do is obviously changes it for one thing. So one thing you notice that it's going to do is because that photo and the text, a lot of times it's going to do its best job to try and match it as much as possible, but there's some text that is going to be proprietary. It also, so it just doesn't have it. It has a limited. I mean, there's still, a couple, there's a good amount of text that you have access to, but a lot of times text isn't going to be available depending on, again, if it's a proprietary text or not. But at least does a pretty good job. But here, but what's nice is now I can go on here and I can actually say, Matt's billboard. I'll go make that a little bit bigger. And again, being able to move text to where I want to change text, everything like that. So um typically if you're grabbing something that might have like again like a Times New Roman or an Arial text or anything like that, that usually comes up a little bit better. You also notice that the original text part was white, part was black. So again, it is AI, it's nothing's actually perfect. Again, if I wanted to go in here, I can simply, click on Matt's right here, and I can change this text to white if I wanted to, just to kind of match what that was. So, um, yeah. The other thing I want to showcase is you'll see here there's different colors on here. It does use some AI features. So let's say if I wanted to change this blue and I wanted to go to a more darker blue, it'll change it to a darker blue. So you can kind of see the different colors that it's recognizing in here. And what's nice is again, so if I wanted to make this, orange, I wanted to maybe make a Wayne Risa color. So I would change, I would click on this orange right up here, and then I change it to the blue, and that's actually coming up kind of lighter than the Wayne Risa blue, but probably just because of the background and everything. But yeah, so that's some of the cool AI features you have with that. I'm gonna go back to my dog because he was just kind of cute. All right, I'm gonna go dog. All right. So next thing you have is when you're on a photo itself, you can change the image and you can add something to it. So if I click on the magic editor right here, I'll go ahead and click on the frisbee. And let's say I don't want it to hold a frisbee. I want it to hold, let's say, a red ball. You know, something simple. Click on generate. I come up, and then so it gives me some different suggestions. I'll click on this one right here, and now you see it's grabbing onto a red ball. So again, you can kind of pick and choose what you want on there. If I wanted to, I could have like added like a collar on here and maybe given him a name or something like that. So you can really be very, very creative with what you do with a lot of the photos, which is really nice. Um, One of the editing features that I wanted to show you is the blur feature. The blur feature is really nice when you are trying to do a photo, but you want to think about confidentiality. Maybe you're in a classroom and you're taking pictures of the kids, but you find out that one of the kids, they didn't sign the release form that says they can have their photo, released and published. So they do have a blurring function. So while I'm clicked on it and I click on edit, there's this blur function right here. So I click on blur. I can click on like what size I want to do. And then so if I start, just kind of just brushing on the photo itself, again, I'm holding my mouse down and I can kind of blur out the face like that. There's also an intensity to the blur, so I can make it more intense, so it's much more distorted, or I can make it less intense depending on, if I just want to see the actual shape, but you're not actually seeing the actual image itself. Of course, you can do a whole image blur as well, and then it'll do a whole image blur. So again, if you have an entire photo, maybe as part of your presentation, you're maybe having like a teaser photo, and you can have like a before and an after, like guess what this is, and have like kind of like an icebreaker kind of a thing. So little fun stuff you can do like that. All right. Just going to quickly look at my notes to see what I have coming up next. All right. So I'm going to go back to here. Delete. All right. One of the things that, you know, Canva has that, a lot of the other companies have, so you think about Gemini, you think about ChatGPT, is to, generate your own images. So click on generate images. And so let's say I want to, so under Magic Media, right here on the left-hand side, you see there's a couple different things on here. You have images, graphics, videos. So an image, let's do, my kid is really into axolotls, so axolotl. Let's have him um eating a taco. Click on enter. Right. So there's my images that I have now. So I can find which one I want. So this one's kind of cute. So I'll click on this, and that is my generated image. Of course, by clicking on styles, you have a couple different options in terms of if you want a photograph, a digital art, playful, retro, oil, all that kind of stuff like that. So you have all those different kind of options when it comes to different styles. But this is just really nice. So if you're really looking for a photo, but you can't really find anything, you looked in Google Images, you looked in Canva's regular elements, and nothing is there. You can always simply just type out what exactly you want, and it's going to do its best to kind of figure out what that is. Obviously, providing more specificity if I want to have an actual color choice of the axolotl, maybe if I want to have a specific topping on the taco, everything like that. So it's really nice when you're thinking about, okay, so if I want to do something specific, what do I need to do? All right, so we're at a point now where I like to usually kind of give some kind of like work time for folks to kind of try out some of the things that we've done. Um, and Brandon, of course, I'll make sure I'll put some music on, so don't worry, I'll put some music on for you. But try and think about, okay, so maybe you have an image in your Google Drive. Maybe you just want to grab an image from Google Images. Or again, Elements is a great way to find images. Now, um, you are going to notice with some things, so certain graphics aren't going to have some of the editing features. They're doing better with it. You're definitely going to get more editing features when you do like actual photos. So when you're looking at your elements, um, and you have these different options on here, the photos itself typically will have better options when it comes to the editing, and it does a little bit better job of actually mimicking those edits. So definitely recommend a photo if you're first trying it out. But we're going to take about 5 minutes and go ahead and log into Canva if you're not already logged in right now. You can come up with your own media or simply just type in what you want to create or what you want to see, and then start, again, removing the background, or if you want to change the text on something, maybe you want to change like an image within an image. So again, we're going to take about 5 minutes to do that. I'm going to put a little timer up. Let's see, timer.
Can you summarize the task again?
Yeah,
So
100%. Yeah. So what you'll do is you'll simply, go into your Canva and then under elements, go ahead and search for some kind of image. So again, you might have like a pencil, for example. And so I see a couple different things on here. Maybe I want to click on this one right here. And then when you click on it, you're going to click on edit and play around with the tools in the Magic Studio. So again, removing the background, using the Magic Eraser, maybe you want to change this pencil to a pen, or maybe change this pencil to like a big eraser, kind of things like that. Does that make sense? All right, perfect. Thanks, Mike. All right. How was that for everyone? Is it okay? Yep. See some thumbs up, see some head nods. All right, perfect. Yeah. So, obviously one of the nice things about Canva is it's pretty simplistic, right? It's pretty, clicking on it, it's got some very clear things of what you can do. Um, I would say the click part is getting better. I remember when this first came out and you would click on something and it would get like the surrounding areas. It did not do a very good job. I think the advancements in AI, the advancements with Canva and everything like that, make it pretty good. Um, again, if you're struggling with anything, obviously feel free to email me. Feel free to reach out. Happy to sit down with folks as people are kind of moving around along with Canva, um, and I'm happy to help where I can. All right, so the next one I wanted to show you was mockups. So with mockups are nice in that when you're doing a mock-up, you can kind of take a almost like a real life object and embed a photo within it. So right back here on elements, I'm just clicking right on elements and it's going to show my different categories on here. At the very bottom, you have mockups. So I'm going to click, oh, those tables. I'm going to click on mockups. So you can see on here, there's all kinds of different things that you can do. So I'm going to click on apparel, for example. So you can see there's different people wearing shirts. I'm going to click on this right here. So this is actually a video. Um, you can actually put images on videos, which is really nice. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back to my elements. I'm going to click out of here and I want to search elements and we're going to go back to our dog. Oh, it's not going to do it because it's in mockups right now. I'll go back to dog. All right. So now the way mockups work. So what you have to do with a mockup, you're gonna click and drag, and you're gonna move the photo over, and if you bring it on top of the image or on top of the video, in this case, it's gonna do its best job to. It's thinking right now. Probably shouldn't have done an image, I mean a video, but now you can kind of see there's my mock-up right now. So it's kind of cool. Like you can kind of see that there's like kind of like a wrinkle in the shirt, and the photo actually adjusts to the wrinkle. You can kind of see how it kind of like wrinkles in on the shirt with the photo. So it does a kind of a cool job. So again, there's different mock-ups you can do. They have, phones if you want to do it with like a computer screen. So if you're thinking about like creating a presentation, if you're thinking about creating any kind of like graphic or any kind of like flyer or something, maybe you're having a Zoom meeting in your for an event and you want to be able to show that Zoom meeting, like maybe having like the Wayne Risa logo like inside of like a computer like this, simply dragging the logo into the image right here is kind of a cool way to kind of showcase just some kind of cool features that Canva can do. Um, I'm gonna try something real quick. Um, Typically the um, graphics don't really work in. Let me see if it's yeah. So you can kind of see here with the graphic, photos do a better job of adjusting. Um, Graphics is a little bit trickier to do that. So you can kind of see here, I can kind of control a little bit. And so, it comes up a little bit, but um, let's see what this. Yeah, so it's actually doing a pretty good job now. But when you first come in, it definitely things are a little bit bigger. You can see here, I just clicked on that little fit um, button right here, and it used AI to kind of fit the graphic in there. To be honest with you, 6 months ago, it couldn't even do graphics. It would only do photos. So I'm glad to see that it's kind of improving in that aspect. Um, so the mockups is kind of a fun, kind of cool way to kind of, again, create things and really publicize things in a very unique way. All right, I don't see any questions in the chat, so we're going to keep on going. All right. So, PDFs. So, I'm going to go back to how to get to mockups again. Sorry. Oh, no problem, Carrie. So if you click on elements, um, you should see where it says browse categories. And if you scroll down, it's right here on the bottom where it says mockups. Awesome. Glad you were able to find that. Awesome. Cool. All right. So PDFs. So, one of the nice things, working for Wingre, so we do have access to Adobe, Pro, which does give you the ability to edit PDFs. Um, Adobe can be, is a really powerful program. I don't think it's as intuitive as Canva is. I think there's a it definitely has more functionality in terms of the editing capabilities of PDFs. But if you want to just make like simple edits, um, Canva does a really good job. So I'm actually going to close out of here, and I'm just going to come back to my home screen. So I'm gonna find a PDF. I'm just gonna quickly. So this was a presentation that we had someone come in and speak to us. Um, so it's not coming in. Maybe I need to download it. Let's try that. Download. Sorry, momentary thing. There we go. Okay, so I just grabbed something from my Google Drive and I'm just simply dragging it over onto my home page. So listen, you can't do it from Google Drive itself. You have to actually download something. And so this is just a PDF and it's uploading right now. Obviously, the bigger the PDF, the longer it takes. There's a lot of graphics in it. This is a 120 page PDF. So I'm going to click right on here now. All right, so here's my PDF right here. And I'm going to make this a little bit bigger so you can see. All right. So again, it does a fairly good job when bringing stuff in. You can kind of see here that the text is pretty, squunched, but you'll notice as I'm, moving around it, it's highlighting different things. That means I can go in and actually click on something and actually change it. So if I wanted to go in here and Great. Thank you. Yes, Jordan. Appreciate that. Yep, yep. And when it comes to accessibility, there is also an accessibility checker.
Huh.
Um, I'm sorry. Oh. There is an accessibility checker as well with Canva. So if you're looking at the banners, if you're looking at the borders, things like that, it will do that. So yes, thanks, Jordan. Thank you, Jordan, for that. But and of course, Um, not all PDFs can do this. Depending on the author of the PDF, they might lock it down and prevent it from being editable. So just know that, not all PDFs will be able to do this. But again, from here, I can go in here and I can simply, um, all right, perfect, Jordan. Thanks. Um, you can go in here and obviously change the language if you wanted to. We really want to do this with this PDF just because, we're not the owners of this. But you can go in here and I can change text. If you're doing something on like, um, you wouldn't really like want to change a contract after the fact. But again, if maybe there's a PDF that you used last year and it has last year's date, but you want to use the same PDF, you can simply upload that PDF, change the date for this year, and then use that same PDF for the event. So kind of a nice feature to have. It's kind of a hidden feature a lot of people don't know about. Um, and yeah, so one nice to have something like that. Okay, where am I? Okay. Um, Sorry, I'm losing my mojo space, my headspace. All right. I'm actually going to come back to the presentation because I want to show the next feature with the presentation. Um, Canva has a whiteboarding program. So very similar to like a Jamboard. Jamboard got discontinued a little bit after COVID, but this is very similar to like a Miro board or to yeah, just like an online collaboration board. Um, so when you're in a Canva whiteboard, you can have multiple people in the board at the same time, creating stuff and like collaborating. So what we're going to do is I'm going to encourage folks to join our whiteboard. Um, so if you go into my presentation and you click on where it says whiteboard, I will also put this into the chat. Where is my chat? Chat, chat, chat. There it is. So it just puts the link into the chat. And so what you see here, you have some couple different options. You can put some post-it notes in there, but you can see here all the people that are in this presentation at the same time. So it's about to get a little crazy. Um, a quick tip: if you are on a um, Mac and you hold on the command key and then zoom in and out, it'll do this kind of zooming function. If you're on a PC, I believe it's the control key. So if you press and hold the control key and then zoom with your mouse, you can make it go bigger or smaller. And so what we'll do right now is you can simply just kind of take a post-it note like here. You can grab a post-it note. And of course, you can make it a little bit bigger by like here. And what I know about Canva, uh, I don't know much. That's me. I don't know much. Get a little dizzy when people.
Does it allow unlicensed third parties to join the whiteboard anonymously like the other one does?
That is a very good question. I'm wondering, so if I go to share, uh,
Miro is the other one I was
yeah,
talking
yeah,
about.
yeah, Miro, yeah. I'm wondering, it'd be interesting. So there is an option. So the access level that I have is for Wayne Risa, obviously. If I chose anyone with this link, theoretically, if they're not logged into Canva, they'll still be able to access it, and then they should come up anonymous. But I'd have to try that out.
Yeah, go ahead, put that link in and I'll open it in a private browser and we'll see what
Okay.
happens.
Okay.
Put that link in the chat and let's see what happens.
All right. Let me just. Uh, Laverne, on the left-hand side, you should have a little toolbar that's right over here. There's a little arrow, a highlighting tool, a shape tool. So the one, two, three, four, fifth one down is the sticky note. If you just simply click on the sticky note, it'll create a new one for you, and then you can simply just move it to wherever you'd like. So I clicked on the red one, it came up over here, and I can simply just drag it to somewhere else.
So it allows me to log in and I can comment only. I would have to sign up or log in order to interact with it.
Interesting. Even though I have Ken Edit on here, it's requiring logging in
Or signing up with a free account, right? I can
or signing up
comment.
with a free account.
No,
Interesting.
I can't even comment. So if I click comment, it says sign up or log in.
Oh, very interesting.
While using Canva as guest, you can only view comments. To reply or add comments, sign up or log in.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you trying it out for me. I know it's getting a little busy in here with everything in here, but I appreciate everyone going through here and trying some of these things out.
It's crazy how you can just delete other people's stuff.
Yeah, yeah, that is an issue with this program. You can theoretically delete someone else's things. Um, I know you can see where it says assign because this is an EDU license. I know if you assign it to like a specific classroom, you do have a little bit more functionality in terms of you can't delete someone else's. Like so for example, someone just deleted the whole thing, right? So the participants only have so much access, like they can only like create new posts and affect their own when you're assigning it to like a class. Obviously leaving it open like this gives it a little bit more of vulnerability. But yeah, um, I would say this one isn't as popular as like a Miro board or what's the other one? Fig Jam. I really like Fig Jam. Fig Jam EDU is again another pro. They give a pro account to education users. Um, I love it. Now we're upside down. If I was doing this in like in another situation, what I'd probably do is I'd probably do like small groups and I might like have like I might do like a breakout space, and then you might have like five people, per board. And all you would really do is you just click on this file right here, and it says make a copy. So essentially, you could just make like three or four different copies, and then each group would have their own copy, right? And so then they would have their own link, and then only they would be able to access it. Um, I think that would definitely help prevent a lot of some stuff like this from happening. But it's just kind of fun. Another tool in your arsenal. All right. So while you all are doing that, I'm just going to quickly check in with where we are. Okay. So I'm going to go back to my presentation because this is where we're going to start getting into what has recently come out in that came out in October. Some fun things. So the slides that you're going to see, I'm going to be very transparent with you. I did not create these slides. These slides were created by Canva themselves when they did the announcement, and they were geared for education. So I just thought they looked really, really good, and I think they are very well presented. So I wanted you all to have access to them. We're still going to go over some of the features on a lot of them, but I at least wanted you to have access to some more professional looking slides. So I'm going to go ahead and go forward. All right. So some of the things that it did was it did a lot with more with like the magic activities. So the magic media that I showed you a little bit earlier. Um, Last year it came out with Canva Code. So now there's a Canva Code 2.0 that works really, really well. And it's actually integrated more throughout the program. Um, they came out with their own video editor, a much more advanced video editor. So I know we have access to like Adobe Premiere, Camtasia through Wayne Risa. Um, but for school districts that don't have like those kind of licenses, and they want to be able to do some more advanced video editing, it does have that, which is really nice. Um, uh, I think I talked a little bit about the forms earlier. It has this forms, and then of course it has this remote control option. Just to kind of show what that looks like. I'm not sure if you can see my screen, but on the very bottom right-hand corner is a sleeping snowman, a little three dots. So if I click on the three dots and then I click on share remote control, what it's going to do, it's going to show me a QR code. If I scan my phone to the QR code, I can then control my presentation with my phone. So instead of needing a presentation remote, so let's say, oh, am I not sharing my screen? Uh, here.
There we go. That's some cliffs of Dover. Okay.
Okay, that was weird. I apologize. Um, so here's some of the things. So again, bottom right-hand corner is there's three dots over on share remote. If I click on share remote, it'll give me a QR code. And I forgot my presentation remote. I can click on share remote control, and it will bring up um, it can bring up the presentation to then go through. All right. So first one is again, you have the different magic activities. So what this is really about is creating kind of these multimodal kind of activities right within Canva. So you can kind of see from this GIF right here, what it has to do is, it's comparing the difference between chemical and physical changes for sixth grade. It's now creating different activities. So the activities that it did was a Venn diagram. So by simply putting in a prompt of that, it was able to do that. So again, if I was to go home to Canva and I would click on Canva AI, let's say I want to do create student activities and we're going to do the water cycle and we're going to do it for, let's do it for fifth grade. I'll click on enter. So on here, let's see. So it came up with a journey of a water drop, a comprehension quest, or a matching game. So I click right here on matching game, click generate. So it's nice because it's not the typical kind of like worksheet kind of activities. It's going to be something that's going to be more interactive for the kids. And the nice thing is because there's now Canvas Sheets, which is involved in Canva now, you'll be able to do some data tracking and kind of what students are doing, either live or getting reports of what they did in the actual activity, which is really nice. So I'm going to click right here on open and we're going to see what it created. So it looks like it did it as a whiteboard. Right, so then it says match the water cycles with their meanings. So here's where you just kind of match it to. So you can kind of just go through here, which is kind of nice. Yeah, so it's kind of a cool little activity. Obviously, the more specific you are with what you want, the better the results you're going to get. But it's kind of nice that a lot of these things then can kind of be just created just kind of on the fly, uh, when you're working. All right.
Well, question real quick.
Yeah,
Um, I was just trying to copy what you're doing into the Canva AI like prompts and stuff,
yeah.
and it's giving me an error message saying due to your organization's admin policies, you're unable to generate content using magic activities. Do we not have permission for that, or is that maybe just me?
It shouldn't be just you. Let me check that. Admin settings for magic creation. Okay. I'm going to check that when we go on to our next interactive activity. So thank you, Carrie. I appreciate you bringing that to my attention.
Yep, thank you.
Was
All
it
right.
just that you went into Canva AI and made a request of it? Was that
Yeah, I clicked on Canva AI and just said like, can you create a activity about water cycles? And it said due to organization admin policies, unable to generate content in a magic activity.
huh?
Yeah.
It worked for me.
It works for you, Mike?
Yeah, I'm having it make some Latin flashcards and it's doing some coding right now, and now it's created some code and it's produced a thing.
The
So,
coding might be a little bit different than the activities. So I'll go in and I do have access to the admin dashboard. If not,
oh,
I can put in a tech ticket with Andrel. So,
cool.
all right. Um, so coding, just like with it had last year. So you can actually code whole games and different things within Canva itself. The code takes a little bit of time, but let's say I want to do code right here, and I want to do create a Jeopardy game on the water cycle. This is for sixth grade students. Clicking on submit. And one of the things I love just kind of as kind of like a techie is that it's going to actually show the code here on the right hand side as it's being created. So it's basically creating an app. It's basically creating a game, kind of right in front of us. Um, it does take a couple of minutes to do this, But thinking about if you are a computer science teacher or if you're doing anything with like that, um, you can actually go in when this once this is done, and you actually go back up to the code and kind of find out where the different nuances are and actually change those particular things, which is really fun. Um, okay, perfect. Thank you, Carrie. Um, you can go back and actually change like if you want to change like certain color elements, if you want to change certain questions or anything like that. So here's my game now. So I can click on, 200 show answer, what is this then? So, you know, so you can kind of close here and then now it's kind of shaded out. Um, Supposedly they fixed it, and I haven't tried it yet, where you can actually include like music into it. I'm not sure if you'd be able to put like the Jeopardy theme, just because I think there's probably going to be some copyright stuff in there. But it's pretty fun. Um, Again, I can show the code right here. I can click on publish. And what's nice is I can publish this, send this to my kids. If you're doing this in a professional development, obviously you can do it with like anything that you might have gone over in your professional development. So like you can actually like I could take my slide deck from Canva 2.0, put it in here for the coding, and then it's going to grab the information to test my participants on what we went over in Canva 2.0. So it's got kind of a cool little feature like that. All right, next is Forms. So kind of taking from Google Forms, Microsoft Forms, SurveyMonkey, Canva now has forms in it. So when you're doing any kind of presentation, if you wanted to be able to send out to individuals about getting some feedback or anything, it now has forms built in. So to do that, I'm just going to create. I'm just going to create a real quick flyer. And then under the elements, you should have a forms button. So by clicking on forms, you of course get some different templates. So we'll click on education, for example. So let's say you have a like how am I feeling chart. So I can click on here. And when I click on it, of course, just like everything else, I have different options to edit. So I can click on edit right here. And you can see there's a number of different question types. So you have a short answer, long answer, thanks, Brandon. Checkbox, mood meter, poll, star ratings. You have all these different kind of questions right here. Of course, you have your settings. Um, if you want to have a certain header, if you want to change the colors. So if you wanted to, like, let's say, if you wanted to make it, the our Wayne Risa colors, that's not coming
Mm.
up very well based off what I see here, but so there's a lot of different options for that. Um, and then your responses, of course, come in to your sheets. So again, I can click on this link right here. So let's do it. I'm gonna copy copy this link. I'm gonna put it in the chat. I'm very happy today. So I'm not sure if you can see it on my page now, but it's all coming up as anonymous. It's not coming up, and so I can link it to a sheet. So thinking about any kind of data that I want to get back, it's really kind of nice. So again, a nice, cool little new feature with the forms. Um, Then you have a couple different, you have different like quizzes, if you want to do it for like a club. Um, feedback, all that kind of stuff like that. So that's one of the new features of Canva. Um, let's take 5 minutes. Where did you go for the results? Thanks, Catherine. So if I click right here on the form itself, and then up here next to edit is responses, and it comes up right here on the left-hand side. Am I still sharing my screen? Can you see this?
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
perfect. So it's coming right up here on the left-hand side, and then I can link it to a sheet right here, just like you can with like Google Forms and Google Sheets. So I'll be able to see, the different responders. All right, perfect. Yes, Captain, absolutely. All right, so I'm going to ask you right now. We're going to go in and go ahead and I invite you to create your own form. So again, to do that, um, it doesn't have to be in a specific manner. I always just kind of go to Flyer as my default, just because it gives kind of that full page view. So when you go into Canva and you click on Create in the upper left-hand corner, and then click on Flyer, and then under Elements, and then you have Forms. So let's take 5 minutes to do that. While that is happening, I'm going to go check on the admin settings for some of the stuff, and I'll be back. So I'm just going to wait. So hope you all did well with the forms and kind of played around with them a little bit. Like anything new coming out, there's always things that can be improved. And if you're finding something that maybe you like in Google Forms that you're not seeing in here, definitely recommend you can put in feedback to the company itself, and they're really good about getting that. And I'm glad we can now have access to certain folks that weren't able to have access to some of the activities before. All right, moving on. I think you all can still see my screen. You should see 3 coffee cups in the screen. All right, perfect. All right, so one of the new features that we have now with Canva AI is, let's say you have different objects and different graphics on a screen here. And I really like the design of this. If I click on here right now there's a new option up here where it says new, and it has a little paintbrush where it says copy style. If I click on copy art style, and then I was to go over, and now you can see I have a little paintbrush on my cursor. If I now click on that other image, what it's going to do is it's obviously going to use AI, and it's going to create that new one as kind of that line drawing. So if you're finding that you like a certain type of image, but you really like this actual coffee cup, but I really wanted to have this kind of design just to like show consistency and everything like that, you can actually change it to actually make it mimic like that. So it does a really really good job, I think, of doing that. Um, you can kind of see it still has the shadows in there, still has kind of the lines and everything like that. So again, if you're working on any kind of like flyer, if you're working on any kind of publishing material presentation, and you want to have consistent styles kind of throughout, you can do that through copy art styles. So kind of a cool little thing here. I'll wait for this one to get done because I'm kind of curious on what that one's going to look like. Yeah. So it does a pretty good job. I think I really like this. All right. Next one that is new is 3D objects. So I'm back in Elements right now, and scrolling down on the very bottom is 3D. So clicking on 3D elements. So let's say I click on, let's do creative and abstract. Have a couple different things on here. We'll choose, I don't know, kind of like this one right here. But what's really nice about the 3D now, you can see this right here in the middle. You can now click and drag, and you can kind of look at things from different kind of angles. So if you're doing anything with thinking about math and you're doing kind of like modeling, doing anything with like any kind of like architecture or space design, again, you got all these kind of different kind of options to kind of like customize how you want things to look. So it's a really fun tool. It's got some really great features and it's only going to get bigger just in terms of the amount of things you can do that are 3D. Um, yeah, yeah, that's a little cute little panda guy. Yeah, so series is a fun one. It's definitely a fun one. All right. Next one is, and I'm it works fairly well. I think it's still kind of in just kind of a learning phase right now. I'm gonna go to my designs real quick, and I'm gonna click on this one right here just to bring in an actual design. So I have my flyer right here. I'm pretty happy with it, but I'm not the best with design. There's now a new Ask Canva feature. So you can kind of think of like this as like a colleague. So it's including a chat bot now within Canva itself. So again, I clicked on my flyer. I'm going to click on Ask Canva. You can kind of see it gave me a couple different suggestions. Do I make an image? Do I give me, so I'm going to say, give me design advice. And of course, I can be more specific. I can say, who my audience is, who's going to be looking at this flyer, some more specificity, but I'm just going to give it a general give me design advice. So I'm going to click on submit comment. So I have my own little Judy Bowling right here with me, which is nice because she's a lot better at design stuff than I am. So it says your robot and phone look fun together, but the long stacks of white labels on the left feels a bit heavy. Pull those points into a tighter group so they read as one moment instead of separate pieces. Okay. So I can see that a little bit. So again, it's going to give me some suggestions. Like I said, you know it does again it does a fairly good job of things in giving some just different advice. Um, I can also say create change the color to a navy blue. Of course, I could go in here and I could, click on this little purple here and change the blue, but it's actually going to give me some suggestions um, of what that would look like, and it should give me the four. When I was trying it earlier, it only gave me one. Oh, it should guide me. Yeah, how do I change the color of my design to navy blue? Oh, when you want, click the color tile in the color panel, so it's a navy blue shade, or entering the hex code. That's kind of cool. It kind of showed me some, ways to do that. So again, it does a fairly good job. I would say it's not perfect. I would say it's got a little bit of way to go. One of the nice things that it did add, which is really nice when you're looking at any kind of flyers, now part of the photo colors, you actually have the object itself that's in it. So you can actually click on the object. So if I wanted to have another robot in here, I could click on here and it'll give me another robot. All right. The last thing I want to show you is with the when you're in the elements itself, there's now under where it says that generate images to the right, there's a little drop down menu where it has generate code or generate video. So before, like last year when Canva code first came out, you had to go to the home page to do that coding. Now you can do it within a design itself. But I love the generate video aspect. So I'm going to click on, let's see here. Let's do a dog running through the park. Generate video. I've reached my limit for videos this month. Oh, I'm doing it too much. It's frustrating. Well, if I didn't, and I'm not sure what the limit is. I don't know. I think I've probably done maybe 10 videos. So there might be a cap on it. So that's kind of frustrating that it has that. But you kind of get what I mean. You can really if you're looking, and obviously it did give me some videos right here, so I can, at least go in here, and that has all of the videos that I, search for. But if I wanted something a little bit more specific, um, that's kind of frustrating that it has that. I'll do some research in terms of, I'm gonna click on I'm just gonna search that up. How many videos can be created per month? And when I send the email with the recording and everything, I'll come back to that and let you all know. Um, that was basically it. The video editing part, I would actually make as a whole other session just because there's so much to it. Um, and really doing the editing of videos. So I would definitely I would definitely come what I'll probably do is I'll probably come back to do a training on it, or I might just do a self-recording and then just maybe sending it out to people just so people can have the information. And I'll probably I'll sync up with Chris as well just to kind of get his opinion just because he is a kind of video person, cinematographer. But it says you've reached your video and you've never created a video. Oh, that's very interesting. Very interesting. All right. Well, thank you for bringing that to my attention. That's interesting. All right, and with that, that's actually the end. So again, I appreciate everyone being here. I appreciate all your flexibility with the session today, and willing to go just online. And for folks that chose to meet in person, again, I appreciate you hopping on. I'm going to hang out. If you have any other questions, I'm going to stop this recording.